Yeah, like we're boys. This is what's gonna happen.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. But now
Hate
you're
that.
you're flipping the script.
Boys won't be boys, and boys can share.
Yeah,
Boys do share, and boys are still being
Do you want
boys
to
when
get
they
naked
share.
right now? Cut.
What's up, everybody? My name is Ruben Hardern, and welcome to my podcast. This is On Your Mental, a podcast that is going to be aiming to share conversations between men, candid, open, vulnerable ones, where we talk about whatever's on our minds. And today is episode number 1. So welcome aboard. Today I have with me Jesse Beavis, a good friend of mine, and Jesse has helped me sort of get started with things here. Now, before I introduce Jesse, I'm going to go over what today's topic is going to be. So on this episode, what we're going to be talking about is creative process, going after creative goals, how that can sometimes balance with relationships, and then how going through this pandemic that we're still in the middle of right now has affected creativity. The reason why I have Jesse here is because Jesse is a very creative person. As I said, he's helped me get this all started. But maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, Jess.
Where do I start, man?
I don't know. Well,
I'm amazing. I'm doing well, Rube. I'm excited to be here. And I know I've told you this off camera a bunch of times, but I'm incredibly proud of you getting this started. And it seems like something that's a good fit.
Thanks,
so
man.
I'm happy to do this. Is that still recording, or is that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's still
Okay,
going.
great.
It's
Just checking.
It'll
I'm just,
catch up.
it's me, man. There's technical stuff going on.
Appreciate it.
I'm a control freak that way, but very creative person indeed. I got a lot of projects on the go. The main one, which you guys probably know me by, is internet's famous Jesse from Jesse's Barbershop.
The one and only.
Over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. We just hit, and
hold the zeros.
2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We just hit.
We got at least 2.
Yeah, at least 2. And hey, it's been a lot of fun. I like doing this kind of stuff. So I'm just happy that you're doing it. I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here too. On that topic, we can start with that then. How important do you think it is for someone to have a creative space or to be doing something creative in their life?
Mm-hmm. I talk about this a lot with Joe, my roommate and best friend and common law husband. Sorry, dude.
I'm out.
Very, very, if you are somebody who is, I think, predispositioned to being a creative person, because for us, it's like we have this creative drive. And for me specifically, and Joe, and I imagine you're kind of getting to that point, is like, if you don't have that outlet, things just feel out of whack, like you kind of need to flex that part of your brain. Right.
What's funny is for me is like, I never think of myself as a creative person. Because like growing up, I don't know why I've always thought of creativity as like shit, you got to be able to draw, or you have to be able to play an instrument or something. Like that's being creative. Obviously, growing up, you start to realize you can be creative in other ways. But so what if you don't have that natural knack? Then people like myself who are like, I don't think I'm creative.
Totally fine.
What do you do?
Like I have a very good friend who's like, he doesn't have a creative bone in his body. He's super chill. I love the guy. But
he's
like,
talking about me. Like,
no. Other nameless friend who like he doesn't need anything creative in his life. He's one of those people that just like wants to go to work. He's a fucking computer programmer. Like he sits in front of the computer all day typing code. And he just loves it. He likes his life very like organized. He's put a down payment on a house. Like he doesn't need that like the chaos, I suppose, that creativity brings. And he's super happy. Probably like the same level of happy that I am pursuing creative stuff, but just in something that's more in line with the way that his brain works, right? So I think if you are somebody who is naturally creative, I think it's essential to have an outlet like this. But yeah, I mean, if you're not, that's totally fine. You do whatever it is that you need to do to make sure you feel fulfilled. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
You guys know it all. I agree with that though. I think that you can find sort of your space,
You don't think you're creative? You never thought?
I never thought I was creative. Never, ever, ever thought I was creative. I still question whether I am. I don't know. I don't know if it was just like growing up, something told me that those things that I talked about, like being able to draw, being able to play an instrument, doing something creative in that aspect, like visually, you had to be creative. I didn't think of being creative as just having an idea. Like, to me, that was just having an idea. At the same time, maybe I thought that was like, you had to be like an inventor or something. Like that was the kind of idea you had to have. I don't know.
I'm kind of understanding now. Like I got it, but now I get it, what you're saying. Because like I know what you mean. Like I was never the best drawer growing up. Like just drawing or sketching. I had fucking a bunch
I still fucking draw stick men.
Yeah.
Like when I need to like get an image across, if I'm playing Pictionary, I'm drawing a stick person.
Hey,
like,
but Pictionary, it's about efficiency sometimes too. It depending on your partner and the
especially
strategy.
when what's the game where you both draw and like both teams are guessing
All
for
plays.
the same drawing? All plays.
All plays,
if you're
baby.
doing an all play, it's all about speed.
Sure.
It's
sure.
all about speed.
Dude, playing Pictionary with Church is so fun because we both try way too hard on the drawing. So it's like 30 seconds of just like
super detailed.
Yeah. No, but what was I going to say? Okay. Yeah. I mean, growing up, I thought it was like drawing and I wasn't necessarily good at that. So I kind of felt the same thing where it was like I wasn't in a place to be able to pursue something creative because I wasn't as naturally good as these people at like drawing. But now obviously you can be really good at drawing and just be like a piece of shit. Like it doesn't mean anything. It just means you're good at drawing.
Notebook. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I guess if you have a talent for it and you're not pursuing it, I guess that comes back to what you're saying. Whereas like if you do have a talent for it, like fuck yes, you should be pursuing something related to this. You should be pushing your creativity out. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, I think you're right on.
Yeah. I guess.
But that's something that we're kind of experimenting as part of this whole process. It's like, we're putting ourselves into this space where we like this stuff is actually happening, like we're like reducing our work hours so we can focus on creative stuff, right?
Right.
Like
Yourself and Joe, you mean?
Yes. Yes.
I still work full time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we as in me and Joe. And we're, actually starting our YouTube channels. And what it does is it's kind of opening us up to like the reality of the results of the decisions we're making. Right. Yeah. So it's like, it's happening. It's real. And it's nice so far, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's got to be nice to be getting stuff out there. I mean, I've been feeling good just planning this, starting this out, trying to put pieces in place. It's been fun, just like the idea of putting together a project. Like, I don't know where this is going to go and what I'm going to do with this overall. I have my idea and I know like the kind of content I want to get out, but I don't know what else is going to happen with it, but it's just fun having a creative outlet. I've told you about this plenty. I've talked to my mom about this. I've talked to all my friends about this. Just knowing that I have a place to be creative right now outside of just going to my full-time job, which I love, but just going to my full-time job, knowing I have this to work on when I'm done, it feels like I'm still being productive. It feels like I'm doing something. And I feel like that's what I am gaining from this. Even without putting on my first episode. Like, we're filming the first episode, and I feel great just being able to do this shit.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, it's cool. Awesome. And that's the thing is, like, I won't get too deep into my work history because that's kind of boring. But, like, the place I was when I was working at a salon, like, full-time to where I am now, it's like I experienced the value or kind of what you're feeling and having this, like, creative outlet that is yours and you're pursuing. It affects just everything else in your life. I'm way less shitty of a person now that I'm doing something for myself. Sure. And then of course, you're less shitty of a person. Your relationships get better. Your interactions get better. Your just general sleep patterns get better. And it's just, everything's been getting better. Right. So I guess kind of the whole idea behind why I'm so passionate about like helping somebody like you out with this kind of stuff is like, hey, like if you can get like a 10th of what I've gotten from being able to do something creative that is yours and is your thing, then like, hell yeah, man, that's sick. And you're my friend. So it's like, dude, this is amazing.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's just that you're flexing a different part of your brain to do this kind of stuff.
Well, that's something that, again, Joe and I like talk about a lot is like the way that society's built right now is built for left brain people. Computer programmers. I mean, it's in a way, but at the same time, I guess what I mean is like in like the where the money traditionally is in like tech or like.
Well, I mean, sorry to cut you off, but I mean, growing up,
it's your fucking podcast, man.
Shut up. I remember just going even through high school. It was like thinking about like what are the top jobs that you should be aiming for and stuff. And it was always things like, oh, get into tech, get into programming, get into computer science, do something in that field because that's where the money's going to be.
Yep. And the polar opposite, like I mean, the classic art school student, right? Like there's no money in pursuing
which
like
is
an
just
art.
Not true. I know the person, by the way, shout out here who designed my logo for On Your Mental went to art school in New York and is doing incredible stuff, design work for ad agencies in New York. Like really, really talented. Right.
If she's watching this, I'm going to take this opportunity to tell her what I told you, which is I feel like we're not good friends enough for me to like just say hi, but I love the stuff you're doing. I've been following. I found your website. I've been going through all your stuff for like the past couple of years, and it's so sick. So just thanks.
Keep it up.
Keep it up.
Keep it up. Really good
shit.
shit.
Like before, I think what it is before you start getting into this space where you have something creative, you kind of cap out as a person.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, you're using one side of the brain or not utilizing that aspect of the brain, right? So as soon as you kind of like break that threshold, it's like you just as a person. And I think
there's probably a balance both ways. You know, if you're like, we're talking about creativity today, sure. So people like myself who typically didn't find myself feeling very creative in my life, getting this as an outlet, great. Someone like yourself who was typically creative, getting to push that further, great as well. So I think that both sides of it, someone who is creative naturally gets a lot of benefit from being able to express that. Someone who isn't creative naturally is clearly getting some benefit from trying it.
You know what I fucking love about this so far, Rubes?
What?
Is like it just feels like a candid conversation.
It is a candid
and we haven't even
conversation.
gotten in any of the sappy romance stuff.
Nothing.
But it feels good.
And
I like the vibes.
cut it all. I don't want to even get into that today.
On your mental, more like
on the floor. That makes no sense.
No, we cut that.
Come up with something better than that. Yeah. No, I think, creativity is important. I think it's really, really important to have a creative outlet at the end of the day. Yeah, but it's okay if you don't. You'll find one eventually. I genuinely, after dipping my toes in here, I don't think that anyone should ever not have a creative outlet at some point in their life. I don't think someone should ever go through their whole life like just working at a job, come home, play your games, watch your Netflix, whatever you're going to do. I think everybody should at some point do something creative.
Yeah. Well, it comes in so many different
And that's
forms.
My entirely biased opinion.
Yeah.
After having played around with shit for all of like a month.
Sure. But yeah, I think the thing is like, I mean, obviously our creative drive is, I would say, much higher than a lot of people because we're actually like putting ourselves out there and like doing stuff because it means that much to us. But like in regards to somebody who just comes home and like watches TV, like I have a client who, older guy, and he like the way that he watches movies and the way that he watches series is creative in a way. And it's cool because I hadn't really like identified that in anybody else before. But like when he watches a movie, he's not just like sitting there kind of brain dead, like watching it for entertainment. He's like thinking of like he knows all like the directors, like the way that they shoot, and like why these scenes are like.
So there's like a passion there even for
well,
film.
And I think although it's not kind of something like tangible that you come out with like a podcast or a YouTube video or something like that, but it is like in a way like flexing that creative side because he's trying to kind of like get into the creative frame that the directors or the cinematographers would have been in, right?
Sure.
So, and I mean that's something little. Like I also know that this guy would never pick up something and sculpt or paint or something like that.
Right.
Like that's not the way that he.
And there's different artistic expression, obviously.
Sure.
Right. I guess that's what it comes down to too with creativity is how you're actually expressing that creativity.
Mm-hmm. But I think like,
and maybe it's not even through. Well, I guess any form. I feel like creativity and art intertwine, if you will. Tenet, for all who haven't watched it. Have you watched Tenet? Anyways.
Yeah. Intertwine stuff.
What does he say? I don't know.
I've never seen Tenet.
Dude, horrible, fantastic movie.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
you get
totally,
it.
Totally,
you get it. I hated it all the way through to the end because I didn't know what was going on.
Uh-huh.
And then at the end, I still didn't know what was going on, but I had like some idea of what was going on.
Cool.
It's worth a rewatch. I had to buy it. You couldn't even rent it.
What?
Yeah. And no pirating videos here. Anyways, what was I saying? I was talking about.
We're talking about creativity or some shit.
Oh,
art
creativity.
and creativity.
Outlet. Having art. I think that like you can be creative in, let's say, coding as an example, since we were talking about it, right? You can be very creative with that kind of stuff. I don't know shit about that, but I know you can be creative with it, right? I don't know how to get stuff to show up on a screen.
Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah. I don't think it's fair of me to say that, like, you know, if you're a computer programmer, you're not
creative,
which is not what I meant, but I think it's like, I guess the act of sitting there typing code rather than, you know,
But that
with
can be
spatial-
creative too. There's got to be a way.
no,
I just don't understand.
I guarantee
Yeah.
there is. We just don't.
We just
code
don't get it.
computers,
We're
so,
just
yeah.
talking out of our ass because
Dude.
that's the creative thing that I don't get. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Artistic expression, like not being a good drawer, not being a good painter. You're a good painter. You're interestingly a good painter. Not being a good painter, me then, not being able to play instruments myself, but coming up with an idea and putting this together, that feels creative. Anyways,
Which of my paintings do you like?
I like the one that has a million different things on it and that you've just added to over time
That was creative
because
as
it's
fuck.
a total mess and
That
it's
was sick.
awesome.
That was sick.
So Jesse, do you feel like living through this pandemic then has pushed your creativity at all?
You start.
Okay, shit. I'll start. For myself, yes. I feel like me coming up with this idea and deciding to actually do this, let me put this drink down. Me deciding to actually do this and put this out there stemmed from like a necessity of feeling like I was so trapped, not being able to go out especially when we went through our lockdown period where we are, not being able to go out, do things, see people. I felt like I was just going to work and coming home. And that, I guess that's why I mentioned that earlier too. The idea of just being that in your life forever, that started to just creep into my mind like crazy. The idea that I was going to be stuck doing this for an indefinite amount of time. I didn't know when this was going to get any better, and I was just going to keep doing it without changing anything. I don't know. I had the idea months ago, maybe even a year ago at this point, like, oh, maybe I'd want to start a podcast one day.
We talked about it.
But I never had an idea that I felt was like good enough to actually run with it. But I think being stuck and feeling like I was just pressed in by COVID, fuck you COVID, being like stuck and not being able to do shit, I think that forced me into a position where I was like, you know what, this idea, I can make something out of it, and I can run with it, and I can do it. So for me, yeah, I absolutely think this pandemic pushed creativity. And I hate all the bullshit, like trying to find like a silver lining from this pandemic, because overall it has sucked for everybody. There hasn't been like an overall positive from this pandemic, but this is one positive thing I've taken out of it, is it pushed me to try and do something, because I was just so tired of doing the same thing day in, day out, again and again, not having the flexibility to do what I would normally do, which is go and see all of y'all. You know what I mean?
Totes, man.
Shut up.
And in fact, I agree. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. 2020 is the best year of my life. I'm sorry for everybody who hasn't had a great year, but I mean, I was exposed to as much as anybody else was. I mean, in regards to the global pandemic, because we have it pretty nice here in Canada, just in general.
Yeah, I mean, BC at the start was doing a pretty solid job.
Sure, yeah.
dealing
So
with
I
it.
mean, yeah, we're obviously not dealing with it as bad as people, but
Thankfully.
I mean, I'm living in the same world, and yeah, 2020 was sick for me. Just because I think what it was is, from my perspective, it really seemed like a like kind of just a big wake up call to everybody. Like the entire world like stopped.
Oh, dude, speaking of, when like everything was shut down, like worldwide, like seeing all like the pictures in like Italy and everything like that, where like dolphins came into, like, I don't know if that show is real, but it looked cool. And it was just so nice seeing like a reset, like a global reset.
What happened with the dolphins?
There were dolphins in the canals in Venice.
What?
Yeah, and the water was like crystal clear, man, for a little period
Because
of
of
time.
the pandemic?
Because nobody was going outside. Nobody was driving around anymore. Nobody was polluting as much. You were seeing like massive reversal on a global scale
Holy
of some
shit,
like
really?
huge climate issues, which was really cool.
I heard about some of that stuff even in Vancouver. It was like
Yeah.
it was like because nobody was commuting, like the air quality just like went up like,
Yeah.
within like a month or
Dude,
something.
it was so weird. I'm sorry I cut off your idea here, but now
I totally forgot what I was talking about too. So
Yeah,
it's
so we're
but
fucked.
please.
But
keep
I
going.
remember just like going out for a walk during like the lockdown period, like because I was at the time I was still living at home too. I was still living with my mom, and it's like if we would go out for a walk, it was just quiet. Middle of the day, you can go walk around. We walked from my mom's place over to the Tim Hortons at the mall, and the entire walk there, we saw like maybe one car, and then you
Yeah.
get to the mall and nobody's there because the mall's closed.
Yeah.
And you go and get your coffee because Tim Hortons is still open, and then you kick it back, dude. It was It was a nice time.
When I think 2020, like, that's what I'll remember is like I hadn't gone out for a walk in a decade, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like talking to church, and I was like, what do we do, bro? And he's like, well, you want to just go for a walk at Stevenson? Like, we'll stay 6 feet apart. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that sounds sick. We go, and there was like nobody there. There were no cars. The drive there was like literally no cars on the road, right?
Yep.
And it was just like
shit. If you had somewhere to be during the pandemic, you're getting there right away.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no
it was amazing. It felt like it was like 3 a.m. but
Yeah.
like all day because there was just nobody around. But yeah, I think for me, like I think just kind of everything that was going on with me is I chose to focus on like that kind of stuff. And for the longest time, I hadn't really had the opportunity to. So it was like, I mean, just a big wake up call. The world stopped, but kept going at the same time. You realize that the world can stop, but you know, time just keeps going that way.
Like,
you know
stuff
what I mean?
is still going to keep going
Yeah.
on. It's
Life,
not like the
yeah.
world is going to be put on pause and like we never get back to it. Like, something is still going to keep moving. And so it's like, what would you do with that time that you now have? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I ended up like doing work from home as well, which was really interesting in itself. It was a different experience, but that was when that like inkling started to sort of creep its way in, you know, where it's like, you got to be doing something else. You got to do something else with your time.
Dude, sick, man. That's so cool. And I'm glad that we are able to like talk about it because I feel like a lot of people, well, I know a lot of people didn't kind of perceive 2020 the same way as we did. And even
I still believe 2020 was a shit year. I
It
wouldn't
sucked,
go as
dude.
far
It
as to
sucked.
say it
It
was
sucked.
my best year.
it sucked. It sucked for the world, sure. But for me personally, which is kind of the only thing I care about realistically, it was sick. So
Right.
yeah,
So best year.
for me.
No, I think that, it sucked. Pandemic sucked, but I'm glad that it was a good year for you. I mean, you did a lot of really cool stuff with your YouTube channel, which you've barely talked about yet so far here. I
I
mean,
don't even really want to fucking talk about
promote
it. man.
yourself
I don't
with
even
my 0 follower platform.
Hey, I'm
Promote yourself.
on this podcast assuming that 3 years down the road there's going to be millions, and they're going to see this and be like,
I'm
"Hey,
gonna go back. This was his
that
first
guy's-"
video.
Yeah, exactly. But I will be way beyond you at that point, anyway, so
Yeah.
it won't matter as much. But
Exactly.
but hey,
I mean,
yeah.
what other stuff did you try in like even the last couple months with your channel?
Well, I mean, dude, like we could get way
I
deep.
guess maybe
in
it's a year. It's almost been a year.
Well, see, that's kind of where it blew my mind. It was like I didn't start
Holy
this. I didn't
shit.
start this until like the beginning of the pandemic, right? And then even then, I didn't really take it seriously for a long time. And only like recently, it's been like, okay, I'm gonna put some real effort into it and turn it into a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just the time frame's so weird because it all happened in this super weird year. Yeah, that was amazing for me.
Yeah. Fuck off. I hate this guy. I'm never bringing him back here. So, I mean, this year being your best year, what do you see yourself doing?
It was my best year.
What do you see yourself doing in 2021 with your stuff, with your creative stuff?
Oh, dude, we have so many plans, man. That's something that I've literally for the first time in my life started doing this like 2020, which was like planning.
Planning what?
Just I can't even.
I guess you can't say.
I can't even say.
planning things.
And it's not even like, yeah, like it's just plans, and it's all within this creative space, because like I said, we've very much invested ourselves into it, and we get like a lot out of it. So, I mean, we're like, hey, if we're getting as much as if we can get as much as we have been getting from this creative endeavor, it's like we're working, we're able to pay rent, we're doing whatever we need to do to survive. Every other minute is working on this stuff because we're growing in this space, we're growing as people, we're just becoming better at things, and yeah, it's like 2021 is gonna be fucked for us.
Cool.
That's the plan, man. What about you?
I mean,
2021?
I'm gonna be working on this as much as I can.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
I mean, it's fun. It's like you work on this. It's pretty, I guess it fills your time quite a bit. So it makes you a busy person. Do you find
fills
yourself
you
being a busy person?
It fills you
me up. It fills me right up. So with getting creative, finding that, which I think we both agree on at this point, like definitely you should do at some point. Everybody should try and be creative. How do you feel relationships fit into being that like busy with it? Because this takes a lot of time. I know it takes a shit ton of time from you. And I know for me right now, between work and now, like I come home, I'll go to the gym and I'll do this. You know what I mean? Like I'm messing around with whatever software, figuring out lighting. Like I didn't know anything about all this.
It's all me.
all 100% all you, like 99%, like yeah, 100% all you. But anyways, how do you feel a relationship can fit into being that busy?
That's such a hard question, man. Well, and it's hard because I don't know the answer. I don't know, and I do a lot of thinking about it. It is kind of one of the things that is on the forefront of my mind.
You would say it's on the forefront of your mind?
I would say so. I think I've got three main things: my creative stuff, my work, and how I'm going to function in a relationship. Because that's a big thing to me, is hopefully getting to a place where I can sustain a relationship in a healthy and productive way.
Right.
I don't think I'm there yet.
And do you feel like that's in part because of like your creative focus?
I'm gonna
Does
go
that
out.
take that away?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say absolutely not.
Okay.
And here's why. I would completely understand if for most people, and maybe myself, if that was the case, or I felt like that was the case. But what I'm learning is that, I mean, you have full control over what you're prioritizing.
Yeah.
In your brain, you know. So right now for me, it's like I'm prioritizing this creative stuff, which is why I can literally like work on my stuff for 8 hours, then come here and then help you with your stuff for another 4 hours.
I see what you're saying.
Like it's like, because it's such a high priority for me, because I get so much joy out of it. I've taken that, put it in my brain and said, this is what I want to do. I've felt that in relationships before. And I feel like in order to like sustain a long-term happy one where both parties are like genuinely fulfilling and beneficial to one another and themselves, you have to have that as a priority.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't want to date you if you were spending, what was that, 12 hours out of your day working on creative shit.
Yeah.
I feel like that would just get frustrating.
Well, and that's the thing. I wouldn't want to date me either. And I get that.
I would, though.
I know you would. And I figured it was like it was like a hypothetical, but
anyways.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean though? Does that make sense? Because I know we've talked about it before.
I think, prioritizing what you're doing definitely plays into a relationship, because I felt that, right? I felt like I wasn't prioritizing a relationship before, and then that to me felt like I'm not allowed to be in this anymore if I'm not going to be giving this the attention that it deserves. Because in my head, like, a relationship deserves a lot of attention.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're half-assing it and you're not giving that person, and maybe that's unhealthy of me to think that way too, I don't even know, but I feel like you should be giving like a lot of your time to a person if you're in a relationship with them. And that's possibly just a bad way of thinking about it. Maybe, I don't know.
Dude, I got a feeling it's a bad way of thinking about it.
I have a feeling it's a bad way of thinking about it too.
Maybe that's your fucking problem.
Maybe that's my problem.
Cause yeah.
Shit.
There we go. we figured one out. First episode.
Bingo.
We've made a breakthrough.
But no, genuinely, I've thought about this a lot. So this
cool.
isn't this
well,
isn't
I'm
the breakthrough
curious.
moment.
I'm curious because that's something that my brain is interested in. Is like, what the fuck did you say? How did you like? What did you say that might
I was
be a
saying that
problem?
in my head, I find like
you have to give time. Like it's a fucking
if you're in a committed relationship, like that committed relationship deserves a lot of attention.
Attention, yeah, but I don't think
attention and time.
I don't know if time and attention are.
But maybe that's, I don't know, what are there, those 5 love languages or whatever? Isn't one of them like
5.
quality time or something like that?
Yes. Not that I know all of them, but quality time.
It definitely is one. You list them all.
Physical touch, words of affirmation.
Dude, keep going.
Oh, receiving gifts.
Yes. It's on the tip of your tongue. It's there.
Anal.
That's the one.
I think, okay. Whew, I didn't think I was going to get there.
Oh, man.
Okay, whatever they are, though. But yeah,
That's
I mean,
like one of the most impactful love languages, too, that last one.
Impactful. Hey, as fun as that, I've read the book. As fun as the five love language concept,
and we'll figure out that 5th one at some point.
I think
I feel like that last one was wrong.
Was it not right?
I would wager.
As fun as the concept is, I feel like it's not quite deep enough to like. I feel like a lot of people like feel like, you know, you find your partner's love language and then you're good to go. It's like, no, dude, like you have to turn into somebody who's willing to put in the work to get there, rather than just like acknowledging what it is and trying to do those things a little bit more. I feel like I feel like a lot of people kind of take it that way, and then it became this big sensation because it's easy to digest.
Yeah,
it's fun, it's cute.
Yeah,
it feels right.
It's like signs.
Signs?
Like Pisces.
Oh,
Aquarius. It's fun.
do you know what you are?
I'm a Pisces.
I'm an Aquarius, dude.
Really? Didn't
No,
know.
no,
Shut up.
no,
I didn't know that.
No wonder we get along.
Oh my
so
god,
well.
I don't know how they get along or anything, but do they actually get along? Shut
I
up.
have,
Why am I
I
like
have
buying
no,
into this right now?
I have no idea. All I know
Yeah.
is that I'm an Aquarius.
Yeah. Isn't there like some like rising sign and like there's like
Yeah.
moon, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like I'm a fucking water. I don't
Yeah,
control
no, there's
water.
just water and fire signs.
What?
There's more than just fire signs and water signs.
Yeah. There's like wind. And
This is
earth.
terrible. But it's the same idea. It's an easy to digest thing. Anyways,
It's a candid, open conversation.
Shit. The point that we were talking about was with relationships. How does that fit into a life when you're busy? When you're like busy being creative?
Yeah. Okay. So I think just to kind of summarize, for me, it all comes down to priorities, right? Because I'm confident in my life that I will get to a point where like a relationship that I'm like fully committed to. And like when I get into it is like forefront of my top priority. Like I will be able to balance my creativity with that because I think I will want to do both of those things.
Right.
I will want
and
to do them.
ideally, the person who you're with will fit into that and will also understand that and respect it.
That'd be sick.
Right. And maybe like shit, that would be so cool if they were doing something creative too. And then y'all were both being creative all the time. Whatever. You get it.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
If I could find a babe
A real
terrible. Babe
I hate this
who has
episode.
who has
and
the
it's
fifth
only
one.
the first one. Oh man. Yeah. No, I think it's an interesting idea because to share my own shit, I felt like I wasn't giving my relationship the time that it deserved, and so that's why I chose to step away. I wasn't even doing a creative thing yet, but I just knew like it was in that period of time, and I talked to you a lot about it. When you have a barber, for people who don't realize this, I mean, I guess a lot of men would realize this, but women, y'all, when you have a barber, that barber can be like your therapist sometimes. And it's weird when that person is then like your friend because you're being too open about shit.
And when he's as insightful and charismatic and such a good as a good listener as me, it's like it's unreal. I imagine
unload on this dude,
dude.
and then you tell him things.
Dude, that was a good joke.
Anyways,
Excellent timing, great delivery. Nobody's gonna get it except the
the
guys.
boys. Yeah, they're gonna get it. Fuck. Anyways, but yeah, I would tell you all of this shit that I was worried about, and I was feeling just like I was stuck. I remember telling you I felt like I was stuck and I wasn't doing anything, and I felt like I didn't have enough time for me to figure out what I wanted to do. And so even that was enough of a reason for me to be like I shouldn't be in this right now because I'm not giving her the time that she deserved.
Yeah.
Right. And so I felt like for me, I had to back out.
Well, that's the thing
Right.
is like that. Like imagine like let's say just arbitrary number time frame, 2 years of doing this, like something that you're pursuing, and every day you're excited and happy to do it.
Yeah.
Like how much better of a position you'll be in when 2 years down the road to get into a relationship when you've had this, like you've realized it's like okay, like oh, life isn't shitty, like work sucks sometimes, that's okay, like this I have this
is
this
the thing
way
that
to
make me happy,
Right?
right?
And you get in a relationship and it's like wait, there's this fine ass senorita that is there for me and will cuddle me and give me hugs.
This is
and
what you
love.
want.
No, whatever it is, but you can look at that relationship like with the same way that you view your creative endeavors, which is something that you want and something that is valuable to you,
Right.
something that you will prioritize.
Right. Comes back to your thing of priority.
Always,
I get what you're
man.
saying. I get what you're saying. So do you think it's possible to find that balance then?
Yeah, I would say so because you see it very rarely, but like there are people who are like incredibly happy in their relationships, like with their
How
long-term-
fucking dare they?
who do they think they
Who
are?
do they think they are?
Yeah, no, but like there's some like there's no point in like saying the names, but like there's some like celebrities or people that I see their like publicized lives
Yeah.
that everything about them could have gone terribly wrong. Like they've got like careers, like they're famous, like they've got different paths or whatever, but you can just tell.
Like Will and Jada Smith with their entanglement?
No, I'm thinking more like Kim and Kanye.
Oh, dude, I forgot they're getting forced, man. You know what it was? Did you ever watch that interview where she's talking about the jacuzzi and they don't even have a jacuzzi?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was when he decided I'm out, man. That's
Can you
awesome.
believe that?
Can you believe that we don't have a jacuzzi?
He reminds me of so much of JD when he said that.
Yeah. Our friend Jesse Dawson fucking
Hey, we're having a candid. Fuck these guys, man. We're having a candid conversation between us.
right.
Isn't that cool?
They'll
Isn't
have
that
their time on here.
Isn't that cool? Dude, I feel like that's pretty cool. Maybe that's just
What's
like,
pretty cool?
well, it's pretty cool. It's like the kind of idea behind this podcast is there are people watching. There will be, the idea is for people to watch and listen.
Shit, ideally.
But get
also just
that
having,
out of your head right now. Ideally, oh, this is my first episode. Fuck that, Ruben. You've already made it. Time just hasn't caught up yet.
Right.
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 Okay.
I can't adopt that mentality and I never will. But anyways. But no, I like the point of it though is just to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And even get this shit out between you and I.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll get to do that with all the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think more importantly, the guys will get to do that with you.
Oh.
Because you would do that anyways. Because you're.
This is the
fucking
thing, is
savage.
I am the sharer.
You're the oversharer.
I'm the oversharer
Yes.
by a long shot.
If there was like a tally of like roasts that have happened in like Ruben's like there,
and it's all just content because
you feed
the
it
fact
to us.
that I've given you guys just
Yeah.
too much information to work with.
yeah. Like we're boys. This is what's gonna happen.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. But now
Hate that.
you're flipping the script.
Boys won't be boys, and boys can share.
Yeah,
Boys do share, and boys are still being
Do you want
boys
to
when
get
they
naked
share.
right now?
Yeah, man. No, I'm just happy to be having this. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that there is a way to find that balance to answer the question. To me, like the idea of finding that balance though just comes with time, if that makes sense. Like I don't believe that I could find that balance right now. I think it's gonna take more time getting situated, and maybe that falls into what you're saying, where you're finding that thing that makes you really happy without the partner, and then you end up being all right. I'm going to look up a quote right now. And I'm Big Sean, DJ Khaled. I'm going to look up a quote.
Go look up the quote. Can I do an ad spot?
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Do you have hair? Is it too long? Come on down to Jesse's Barbershop, where I don't reply to texts because I have a very exclusive clientele.
All right, 1 second. I almost have it. 1 sec.
I don't fuck with you. You little stupid ass bitch.
All right, I got it. Went across the street to Khaled. This is Big Sean talking about DJ Khaled. He said the major key. Remember when he did that major key shit?
No, I don't.
Really?
Please continue. No, I don't listen to music.
Uncultured. Anyways, he said the major key is to be strong on your own. If you lose your other half, you'll never be off balance. And I think that's the key. I think that's where you find that balance for
Who said that shit?
Big Sean.
To who?
He was quoting DJ Khaled. It's in his song called Single Again,
Whoa,
where he talks about being single again.
Dude.
And that dude's relationship is, from an outside standpoint, knowing nothing actually about it, that dude's relationship with Janae Aiko is a mess from the outside. I have no idea what's going on.
DJ Khaled or Big Sean?
Big Sean. Big Sean and Janae Aiko. Anyways.
You said the relationship's a mess or it's great?
It looks like a mess. From the outside, not knowing anything about it, it looks like a mess.
Right. Which is all we can do as consumers of content. But
Speculate.
Also speculate, but also not judge and keep it, decide it's fact.
Yeah.
Because we don't know.
I don't know shit about that. Yeah. But anyways, that
Great
point,
quote.
though,
Great quote.
I think it's a solid quote. I think it kind of addresses what we're talking about here, where you get to a point where you're super happy with whatever it is you're doing in your life. And at that point, then when you find someone that fits in with a relationship, I think that's when a relationship would be better and ready to go.
Yeah.
Like
for
properly
sure.
long term.
Well, and it's cool because like we know like we know people who are happy. Like the path that they're on, it's like it makes sense. Like Evan's probably pretty happy.
Evan's definitely happy.
He seems pretty
Evan's
happy.
my roommate. He's
Evan's
definitely happy. 6-year relationship.
6-year relationship, definitely happy.
They're funny as hell.
He's funny as hell.
She's funny as hell. Fanny is great.
She's funny as hell. I thought we weren't dropping names. Okay,
Fanny's
F and
great.
E, they're happy. No, yeah, they seem happy. So like I feel like it exists, but especially when it comes to like people that are creative, and we kind of see it with people who are like testing things out with like experimenting with YouTube channels and creative endeavors, podcasts, that kind of thing. I feel like they're all super unhappy.
What?
Yeah.
People experimenting with YouTube
Yeah,
channels?
people we've seen, we won't name names, but people we've seen who experiment or kind of get into the creative space, but for whatever reason tend to like back out or shy away or like stay at their job. Maybe
they kind of
because
just
they
like
have
say,
to.
shit, that could be me.
Dude,
Anyways,
that
they
could
like
be you. And
they can
that's-
spiral around that thing. They can
they
sort of
start
like
dancing around
Yeah.
it. And I feel like if you always kind of goes back to the very first question, which if you have that in you, like you have to kind of commit to it in a sense. Otherwise, you're just going to keep kind of dancing around and
and I
never
think
really
that,
feeling.
that I think there's a little bit of self-doubt that can play into that.
Dude, self-doubt's everything.
And that's
man.
something that you don't have because you're saying how
Nothing.
you've already made it. Time just hasn't caught up yet, right?
Yeah.
That's your little thing. And I think that someone like myself, and I've said it a number of times here, I don't know if this is going to do well, but if it does, great. That's a different mentality, and I feel like that's a mentality that can allow me to step away sometimes.
Yeah, that
which is
fucking
kind of like a
pisses me
safety
off,
net,
man.
and I know it pisses you
that
off.
makes
I
me-
know it
yeah.
pisses you off,
Dude, because
but that's the way that I look at this kind of thing. Though.
Stop
you know
it.
what I mean?
Because I see it. You know, maybe I'll do it enough for both. I'll do it enough for you. Because yeah, I mean, I've seen like the thing is I've seen way dumber people do way way harder things. And I think kind of all what it comes down to is this kind of stuff that we're talking about. And I mean, sometimes a little bit of luck, but you of course create your own luck. But yeah, I think it's a matter of like their focus and their belief in what they're doing. And this gets into like super like philosophical, like religious type like outlooks towards things, which that's literally super fucking boring. But I think for me, it's like if you, dude, I don't even want to fucking say it because I'm gonna sound like an idiot, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Like if you know that if you believe you can do it, you can. But I don't like saying belief because that sounds like super Disney and lame. Like I'm like, for me, it's like I fucking already done it. Like I've already done it. Time just hasn't caught up yet.
I get it.
Yeah, and then everything else kind of seems to have been following that idea.
It's just an extreme confidence.
Yes. Well, not necessarily extreme confidence, but extreme lack of self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
I'm not super confident in who I am. Like I know like I don't have the money. I don't have the audience. Like I haven't done any of that yet, but I have no doubt that I will. Right.
Right.
So
It's
I feel like
that
it's
whole
different.
fear
that way.
of failure is fear of success at the same time.
Yeah.
you know?
And that's just like, I'm not worried about success.
Let
or
me
failure.
pull up like some Instagram motivational page.
Why don't we just
find a
change the
quote.
entire podcast idea to,
Just straight motivation.
yeah,
I hate it.
I hate it too.
But yeah. But no, I think that I think it's important for people to have a creative space. I think it's definitely important for people to have a creative space. I think it's important for people to find a balance
Yeah.
between creativity and whatever else is going on in your life. Because it doesn't just have to be about creativity and relationships. You have to have a balance between all aspects. Because we were talking about romantic relationships, but like you can let creativity take over everything. You can let anything that you're passionate about take over everything else. And the next thing you know, you've put everything else in your life on the sideline.
Sure. Friends don't care about you anymore. You don't
Right.
you don't know how to work a relationship. Like, yeah, I mean, just like anything. And too much
Yeah.
of it is
Too much of one thing is never great.
I think the theme is
There's always
finding
balance.
that balance.
Finding
man.
that balance,
Finding
which
that
is hard to
balance.
do. But that's the point of learning. When you're young guys like us.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the more you practice balance, the better you get at balancing.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think that's kind of
Look at a gymnast.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Speaking of balance, man, my ankles. If
Dude, I can do this thing. Man, I can do this. I can do a lot of things. That sounds so absurd. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple things. My nose can crack on command. Have you ever heard it?
no,
And my doctor would hate it.
But you're
I
gonna
actually
do it.
just went to the nose doctor too, and we got this looked at. Ready? You can hear that, eh? It cracks both ways, and then I can breathe like nothing. And I can.
What?
Now it's like breath's coming through. Yeah, yours doesn't do that. You know why? Your nose isn't fucked up.
I just heard the snot kind of move around. I
Yeah.
went like,
Yeah, no, my nose like full on cracks, and like then I can breathe perfect after that.
wow, crazy.
Yeah,
Do
it's
I
not
have-
healthy. You know what I probably think it was? I think it's a lot of balls to the face, and I'm talking soccer balls. You know?
Yeah. Speaking, but I mean, balls to the face. The award for balls to the face in our friend group, I think, goes to Devin, right?
You can't put this in.
No, I was talking about like the football. Like, no, seriously. Remember, like, he got that's not how he broke his nose.
Dude,
You made
you're
a
right,
Freudian, You made a
actually.
Freudian slip.
You're so right. Dude, when he and he got rocked.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
You
for
weren't
it, but
there.
I
I can still hear the scream in my head. Like, literally, like, bone chilling. Like, it was so funny. I'm going to tell a story. This is irrelevant to the podcast at this point, but we're coming towards the end anyway, so who cares? So we're playing like touch football, and I feel like we might have still even been in high school. Like, this might have been like grade like 12 or just out of high school, and it was like a summer or something, and we were playing in the high school football field. Anyways,
pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. We're not 5 years old. Anyways, we're playing football, and the other team was we don't even know how to play football, so I'm gonna sound like such a dick as I'm talking about this. But we're playing football, and the other team's like returning a kick for some reason. I don't know what they're doing, but oh no, they were going for a field goal. They were going like,
we don't have uprights at the school. Like,
we did have uprights
on top of the soccer nets. Right?
Yeah, like barely.
Yeah.
Anyways, they were going for a field goal, and then Devin was convinced that Seb was gonna do another trick play where they don't go for the field goal, and instead he goes for a conversion. And so Dev was like, "No, we gotta rush the ball. We gotta get right there as soon as they're about to kick, because he's gonna pick it up and he's gonna fucking run with it." So Seb goes to kick it, and Dev just sprints towards the fucking ball, and Seb line drives it right into his nose. He broke his nose, man. And he like, everybody first, like, you do the typical laugh, right? Like the fucking, like, oh shit,
Yeah.
right? Next thing you know, Dev's screaming, like, like fucking, like the worst scream in pain. Oh man, and so good. But yeah, king of balls to the face, Dev. Holy. Anyways,
We should have a segment every episode that's the balls to the face award.
balls to the face.
If
award
you've had
of the
more
week.
balls to the face than Ruben has, then you win
You're
a
winning.
prize.
You're winning something. I'll tell you right now, you're winning something.
Wow, dude, what time are we at? Are we almost like finishing up
We're
here?
coming up. Hey, stupid ass story unrelated to the entire podcast. That's a good way to tie it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, a good thing is people would have tuned out by now for sure. Anyway,
You would hope.
So we're good.
Anyways, I'd just like to say thank you for everybody who did actually watch all the way through here. I'm going to work on getting audio versions out as well, so that people who don't have time to watch, feel free to listen. But I'm hoping that from today's episode, you can take away a little bit of perspective on just chasing after something, a goal, whatever it might be. In our case, we're talking about creative stuff. Creative stuff. And taking a little bit of perspective on the importance of doing that, the importance of going out with something like that, but also how living through this pandemic has impacted things for us, has maybe driven that creativity.
Best year of my life.
Sparked a little best year of this jackass's life. And then on top of that, how that can sometimes balance with relationships. And there's going to be more episodes that touch on this whole relationship stuff, so we didn't get too into it in this one, but yeah.
Which sucks because I'm an open book. I'm an open book, man. I would have gone
Maybe
through. I
next
would have
time.
gone through everything that we needed to. Hey, can I ask something before we go though?
Yeah.
Is like, what should we expect? Like, what should I expect? Because I'm gonna be tuning in every episode, obviously. Like, what is coming? Because for me, obviously, I think that's great because we talked about creative stuff, which is my space, right? But when the next episode's coming up.
So here's the plan. Here's the plan, everybody. And we'll see if I can hold myself to this. But each episode is going to be sort of tailored for now to one of our friends. We're going to be bringing them on, and we're going to be talking about something that's relevant to their lives as well as my own life. And just having conversations about basically different people's lives at this point. But we're going to get into some pretty touchy stuff at points because there's a lot of us. And there's a lot of emotions out there, a lot of thoughts, feelings that we should definitely get out. I'm going to be aiming for getting, like, hopefully an episode a week here, but we'll see if that actually pans out as I want it to. Anyways, I hope that everybody could take away a little bit today, a little bit of perspective about chasing after something you care about, balancing that with a relationship, and how this pandemic could have affected two guys who you know nothing about. Anyways, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you for listening if you're listening. And I will see you next time with another guest. Bye-bye. Peace.